You're welcome back again to my channel, Echoes to Symphony, and as promised, this is the part 2 of the Introduction to Nouns discussion. Okay, now I mentioned earlier that we're going to be treating a different set of nouns apart from the first 4. And the reason is especially this: for those who are preparing for the African English Olympiad competition coming up real soon, the thing is the questions can come from anywhere. So it's important that you are familiar with every type of noun out there, so you're not confused or you're not taken unawares. Okay, other types of nouns. Starting the list is countable nouns. Things we can count them. These are nouns that you can count. So they have a singular and plural form. For example, you have a singular cat and you have plural cats. You have a singular boy, plural boys. Of course, we know we make our plurals by adding an S to the noun. So idea becomes ideas, father becomes fathers, and so on. Next, following that is uncountable nouns. Obviously, if we can count countable nouns, that means we cannot count uncountable nouns. Now, uncountable nouns, they're seen as whole or mass. So you can't count them individually. So they do not have plural forms. Examples of these are information, advice, music. So you can't say musics or you can't say informations. Those nouns do not have plural forms, so there's no S. You don't add S to them. Okay, after this, we want to look at concrete nouns. These are nouns that you can experience through your 5 senses. We're talking about the senses of sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. So they're the exact opposite of abstract nouns. Examples of concrete nouns: apple, flower, table, book. So why don't you think of more concrete nouns? Things that you either see, touch, taste, smell, or hear. Right, so now we move on to compound nouns. These are nouns that are made up of 2 or more words. That is to say, you have 2 individual words coming together to make a new word. Examples are greenhouse, childhood, playground, girlfriend, toothbrush. So when you encounter words such as these, just know that they are compound nouns. And finally, we will be looking at possessive nouns. Possessive nouns are nouns that show possession, just as the name implies, or ownership. When you own something, when something belongs to you, that means you possess it. So we have nouns that actually reflect such possession. I'll give you an example. Let's say this is my marker. You're going to say this is Victoria's marker. When you are writing possessive nouns, it is usually indicated or formed by adding an apostrophe and an S after it. So you have the cat's food, or John's bicycle, or Nelly's daughter. Remember, a noun can oftentimes fit into multiple categories. We have to make that clear. They're not all exclusive to one group. For instance, we have the example of water. Water is a noun. Water is an uncountable noun because you can't count water, can you? But at the same time, water is a concrete noun because you can see it, you can feel it, you can touch it. That makes it a concrete noun, but it's a concrete uncountable noun. There's so many other nouns in that category that can find themselves in different groups. So it's really important that you understand the different categories because that will help you to better understand the function of nouns and how they are used in English grammar. So once again, we're going to explore the different types of nouns by going through our worksheet. Have another bunch of questions here where you will identify the countable nouns and write down examples of some of them. You also identify your concrete or compound nouns and provide examples. Also break it down into its components. What do we mean by breaking it down? For example, if you are giving me the compound noun, childhood, which means you have to break it for me into child and hood, because those are the two words that make up that compound noun, childhood. All right, And then you answer this question: what type of noun is air? Is it countable or uncountable? Easy peasy. So as usual, send your answers to me via my email, echoestosymphony@gmail.com. Now, the next part, I just want to stress on it just a little bit because I think it's important. The difference between concrete and abstract nouns. Now the thing is, it's just one simple difference. That distinction is simply revolving around the 5 senses. What do we mean? Concrete nouns are things that you can experience through your 5 senses. You can see, hear, smell, touch, feel, taste. So they represent tangible physical realities. I can touch this. I can see the board. I can feel water on my skin. I can smell the aroma of food. So these are concrete nouns. At the opposite end, we have the abstract noun, which you cannot see, hear, smell, taste, or touch. So they are intangible. You can't hold them. You can't feel them physically. They're intangible. So that's where we talk about ideas, emotions, our concepts, our qualities. When you say this person is a nice person, can you touch nice? Can you see nice? But you understand what is being communicated, okay? That a person is nice. That's what we're talking about, the quality of that person. It's not something you can see or touch. Let's make it simple. We'll say concrete nouns are tangible. They can be detected by the senses, while abstract nouns are intangible, cannot be detected by any of the 5 senses. Okay. I said some nouns can fall into different groups. We want to look at that just a little bit more. So we have proper, common, countable, uncountable, and compound nouns. They are nouns that can be considered as concrete nouns, as long as they refer to something that can be perceived through any of the 5 senses. That's what we're talking about. Let's take an example of apple. Apple is a fruit, isn't it? So apple as a fruit is a common. When we want to be specific about a particular apple, then it will become a proper noun. But the word apple is a common noun, just like fruit. And then apple is still a countable noun because you can have 1 apple and you can have 2 or 3 apples. At the same time, it is a concrete noun because you can touch an apple, you can carry it, you can eat it, taste it, feel the skin of the apple. So you see now how just that one word appears under common, countable, and concrete. So we're going to look at a few other words like that. We talked about water earlier, so let's look at the toothbrush. Toothbrush. So again, it's a common noun. It's a countable noun because you can have more than 1. It's a concrete noun because you can feel it, you can carry it, it's tangible. And it is a compound noun because it's made up of 2 words, tooth and brush. Isn't this interesting? So you can see how the whole thing works. It's beautiful. So it's also important that you know that not all words in these groups can adapt to different categories, just like these ones. So some of them might be abstract, depending on what they're referring to. So it's just all about taking a little time out to observe, study, and understand where and how each word applies, and you know whether to classify it as a concrete noun, an abstract noun, a proper noun, and all of the other types of nouns. So, as usual, we will check our understanding through our worksheet. Now this time, this worksheet will be distinguishing between abstract and concrete nouns and identifying the noun groups. So that's it. We have successfully completed the Introduction to Nouns 2-part series. In case you missed the first video, just click on the link appearing on your screen. And for the worksheets, I will attach them in my bio, so all you have to do is head over there, download, answer the questions, and then forward them to me via my email, echoestosymphony@gmail.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications bell so you don't miss any update. Until we meet again, I remain Victoria Daisy. Stay inspired, stay engaged. This is Echoes to Symphony.